Greetings, this is M squared. We're going to solve some rational equations, and these ones are kind of a step up, a little bit more challenging. You'll notice that the bottoms have binomials and that we need to factor. But again, remember that whenever you're solving an equation that has fractions in it, your goal is to get rid of the denominators. You do that by finding a common denominator, multiplying each term by the common denominator. Terms are separated by plus or minus signs. So this is one term, this is another term, and this is a term. So if anything can be factored, not canceled, if any of the denominators can be factored, we need to do that. So we'll factor this one. We notice that it's a difference of two squares, two perfect squares, and so this is the factored is this guy factored. Well, that's important because now we see that the common factor of an x minus 3 is shared with these two, and a common factor of x plus 3 is shared with those. So this is actually our greatest common factor. So we multiply everything by that. So we're going to multiply this term by that, this term. I'm just going to do this because it's a little easier there. I don't need to have that factored form, but you can do it there if you want. So these cancel out here, these cancel here, and these cancel here. So I'm left with 1 times x plus 3, which is just x plus 3, plus 2, because everything canceled there, equals 5 times x minus 3. Well, 5 times x minus 3 is 5x minus 15. If we combine these like terms on this side, we get x plus 5. And so we want to get all the x's on one side, so I minus x from both sides. That gets me a 4x. That zeroes out. I want to move the 15 over there, so I add 15 to both sides. And that gets me at 20. And if 4x equals 20, and I divide both sides by 4, then I get x equals 5. And I can always check that. It's important to check. So let's go back to the original. 1 over 5 minus 3 plus 2 over 5 squared is 25 minus 9 must equal 5 over 8. It's 5 plus 3 is 8. Well, 5 minus 3 is 2, so that's 1/2. 25 minus 9, I believe that's 16. So 2 over 16 is the same as 1/8. And if we change these to get a common denominator, I'd multiply both the top and the bottom by 4. So I get 4 plus 1 over 8, which is 5/8, which is what that is. So now I know that I'm 100% right. X indeed equals 5. I won't check this one, but it's important to check, especially on a test or a quiz. You want to do that. So this is a binomial, can't be factored, can't be factored. This can be factored. And always use one of these as a hint. And it could be both of them, but so this is a 2y plus 1, so I'm imagining that this might be a 2y plus 1. And since that's a y minus 5, it could be, so I'll just put it down, and if it's wrong, I'll change it. Let's multiply using FOIL to see if we get that negative 9. We already know that 2y times y is 2y squared, and that 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. That's why we put those there. We didn't just randomly put them there. Okay, it might have looked that way. So 2y times negative 5 is negative 10y, and 1 times y is 1y. And when I add those together, I get a negative 9y, which is what my middle term here is. So I know that that's the correct factorization of that. And so now I know that this is my greatest common factor. So just like up there, we're going to multiply this one by y minus 5, 2y plus 1, and this by 2y plus 1, y minus 5, y minus 5. And then this by whatever that was, because it's going to cancel out. I just won't write it. That's up there. And so the y minus 5's cancel in the first term, and I get 3 times 2y plus 1. The 2y plus 1 cancel here, and I get y minus 1 times y minus 5. Notice I put both of those in parentheses. I'm going to need to use FOIL on that one. Everything canceled here, so I just get equals 2. So now for distributive property in FOIL. So, 6y, 3 times 2y, plus 3, plus y squared, negative 5y, plus a negative 1y is negative 6y. Negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5, equals 2. Now I'm going to combine like terms. Y squared, negative 6y and the positive 6y cancel. 3 plus 5 is 8, equals 2. Well, if I minus 8 from both sides, get y squared equals negative 6. Well, y squared equals negative 6. If you're not using imaginary numbers, that's no can do. You can't square something, a real number, and get a negative number. So we would say this one doesn't have a solution. There's no y that fits this expression. And sometimes that happens. If it had been positive, we would have square rooted both sides to find out what y was. This is m squared. Sign